Okay, let's dive right into part 2.
Christianity has done more harm globally than good.
Ooh, I don't know if I want to react to this part. Hold on, I'm going to go ahead and
Hi, I'm
pause.
Casey.
Hi,
This
I'm
is
Marianne.
interesting
I am
to
Sheila
me.
Perez. Kyla.
We have a clone of the last girl right here. She just said the dumbest shit I've ever heard in my
Would imply
whole entire life. Let me go ahead and just back it up for you guys.
Atheists have killed more people too, right? Look at Hitler was an atheist.
I'm not making a claim that atheism.
This is what I don't. I agree. Again, I agree with her here. So fucking what, bro? Atheists have done it too. So fucking what? Atheism doesn't have a whole set of rules that can allow you to justify. Atheism just means you get to make your own bullshit. So the Nazis, that's a Nazi ideology. That's not an atheistic ideology. Okay? There is no like set of rules, beliefs, guides. There's nothing that they can point to and be like, this justifies our actions. They just do their actions and justify it however they want to do. It's just life. That's just life. You can't say, oh, that's atheism. No, it's not.
Is any kind of again, going back to the difference between, in this case, Christianity and atheism, is that atheism is not claiming to be a moral belief system that is perfect in essence. Okay,
yeah,
Christianity is
this would imply
God, this would imply ho ho ho. I got you there. Shut up. Let's go ahead and listen.
necessarily. No, necessarily. This implies
Necessarily. You see, they're buzzwords. They love saying these little words like necessarily follows. Oh my God! Stop.
It's
that
not what it
moral
implies.
systems with strong claims are doing some sort of thing. No,
Such childish ass words. Everyone knows these words, but they use them and they're like, "Oh, this makes me sound like I have a stronger argument." It doesn't. Let me go ahead and dismantle how fucking brain dead this.
Necessarily, this implies that moral systems with strong claims are doing some sort of harm.
Moral systems with strong claims.
Because
no, it doesn't. It doesn't imply that. Again, vague. I'm going to keep using these words so that you can help tie it back to each circumstance that this happens, where they love just being in this like weird ass broad world where they don't have to be specific at all and just be like, well, you're implying that moral systems, as in all moral systems, with strong claims are doing some sort of harm.
Making a moral system.
Because they're making a moral system. Very simplistic way of putting it. No, that's not what we're saying. It's saying that if there is a moral system and you use that system to justify violence, then that moral system is harmful. It's not a good one. If it can actually justify violence. Atheism cannot justify violence. There is nothing there. It is literally the absence of a moral system. And you're going to go, oh, well, that's bad. You need a moral system. Then you fucking create one. Oh, I need somebody 10,000 years ago to have made me a moral system for me. I needed that. Like, why? No, you can create one. There is no objective morality. Even among Christians. Even among the same religion, Christianity, in the same denomination, in the same church, in the same classroom, they can't even agree on shit. And it just gets worse and worse the further out you go within, the classroom, to the church, to the denomination. Divide it up however you want to. There's disagreements everywhere. The Bible does not have an objective morality or objective moral system. It doesn't. Now, there are certain things, like, it doesn't have a complete objective moral system, but there are things that most like agree on, which are like the Ten Commandments, for example, things like that. And if we just take those and we have to on our own just say, okay, this is like the most general or the most popular Christian system, and that's what we'll go with. Okay, that doesn't mean we're saying there's an objective one. We're just going with that one because it aids us in a that's the only way we're going to have a conversation, is if we pick one of the 10 million systems that they believe in, and we might as well just pick the most popular one. So once we do that, then if we see that, oh wait, it was literally justifying slavery because it literally fucking says in the Bible to slaves obey your masters and so forth, maybe this isn't the best thing. Maybe it does cause harm to society by saying these sorts of things. And that's different than atheism. Atheism doesn't have a verse that says slaves obey your masters. Oh, I don't understand that. My brain hurts when you say that. What?
I want to go back to the orphanages and mission trips, which to be completely realistic, when we look at history, those are not. You said that as if they're always good, and we're not looking at the orphanages and the forced conversions / mission trips done against the indigenous population of North America. I mean,
what was the indigenous population doing? But what were those people doing to their children? What were they doing to villages that they conquered? How many? No, I'm being serious.
Can I make a quick, because we started with my original claim, these are Christian innovations.
It was okay that we fucking conquered the Native Americans because they were evil to their children. What the hell? Why did you invite this fucking devil to the podcast, or whatever the hell this is?
Saying that no one ever took care of a kid in a charitable way before Christianity. I'm saying that it's because of the framework that Jesus Christ set to take care of the vulnerable, the widows, the orphans. That was an inherently new value system that Christianity brought to the forefront, and that is why we now see. No, it is. We have secular historians. Have you ever read Tom Holland's book? He's a secular Greco-Roman historian. He's not Christian, and he says that the values that we have that created specifically hospitals and orphanages are coming out of a Christian moral framework that the Greco-Roman world really didn't have or practice. So I'm not saying that every charity is Christian or no one could have been kind or good before Christianity. I'm just saying that the innovations we have today, we don't even realize it, but they are inherently Christian.
I'd like to add something. First, I want to say thank you for...
inherently Christian. The people that created these systems now were Christian because Christian was the dominant religion back then, because that's just how the world fucking played out. They're not inherent. That doesn't mean they're inherently Christian.
Having this prompt, I actually ended up increasing my faith more. So thank you. To add to what she was saying about ancient.
Okay, so that whole section is buns. I'm not gonna watch the rest of it. I'm already 7 minutes into this. Hopefully I can speed run through this first section, because I didn't even look at what this prompt was, but I want to do this.
In my understanding of Christian theology, that is synonymous with where hurting the youth, right?
The other girl started talking about, these are just very common lines of discussion that are brought up about, as soon as somebody brings up suffering, it's like, oh, well, morality. The other side is all morality. And then the atheist comes and they're like, it's not about morality, it's suffering as like a conscious experience. So we're not, because the other person likes to go, what they want to say is, well, who are you to say that suffering is even bad? Where are you getting that? I thought there was no objective morality type shit. And that's not what we're talking about at all. It's suffering. Like, there is no good or bad to it. It's just like the experience is awful. And go put your fucking, well, I'll get to this in a second.
That causes suffering, but it can be explained by it doesn't further life. I don't think this is specifically a question of morality. So yeah.
So then wouldn't it be true that the definition of suffering would be able to change based on your personal preference, based on what society deems as either good or bad? Where do we get this?
I mean, true, it can, but I like to add, like, everyone agree, go put your hand on a hot stove. Go do it right now and hold it there. Okay? That's 0.1% of how bad things can actually get. The physical pain that you can actually experience. Your brain cannot even begin to conceive of the amount of suffering that you can actually like agonizing torment that you can experience. You don't get it. Nobody in that room gets it. Not even the atheist gets it. No one does. It's absolutely insane. It's just people are so blessed to not even know it. It's like much less have experienced it, but especially
this law, this standard that's innately in us. That's more so my question.
Sure, I do think that that taps into something really important, because whenever we talk about suffering, it's very, very personal to people, and that's not something that I feel comfortable speaking to for everyone. I'm 99, I'm agnostic, so I don't know anything for certain. I'm 99% certain that people, whatever they consider suffering, they don't enjoy it, but there's a 1% odd ends here and there who might. Who knows?
No one does. No one enjoys actual suffering. No one. The stuff that we should be talking about here. Yeah, maybe some people, they like pain. They like a lot of pain. There are people that and there's something weird with their brain. They interpret it as pleasure, and they can get this sexual gratification off of it. Okay, there's some weird stuff there. But no. Nobody likes take every person on earth. I'm telling you, the actual suffering, they would kill themselves. And that's what people do. That is exactly what people do.
I think you're right that it is very personal and important.
I think your claim presupposes two things. First, I think it presupposes that suffering is objectively wrong, which I don't really understand from the atheistic viewpoint, but I also think it presupposes that the existence...
You don't understand that. How suffering... First off, I don't like this objectively wrong bullshit. It's just... It's not what a loving God would do. If a God loves you, then by what suffering means, if there's unnecessary suffering of that, especially to such a crazy extent, that makes no sense. A God wouldn't do that. A loving God would not do that because of what suffering is. You're literally, if you actually had bad suffering, you would want to kill yourself. You would be begging for it to stop. So why the hell would he continue to let that happen?
Of suffering being A and the existence of the attributes of God being B are contradictory, and they're not, because A can exist and B can exist, and they're also not contradictory because a characteristic of God is suffering. He not only explains
a characteristic of God is suffering. Oh
why
my
we
God, bro. I hate how these Christians talk and think, bro. Holy shit, it pisses me off so much.
Suffering because of sin in Genesis, but he also explains how to deal with suffering, why there is suffering, and he embodies suffering. When Christ came to earth, he took on the most severe form of suffering that any of us could...
No, he didn't. Oh my God. See, this is the shit I can't stand. No, he didn't. No, he didn't. The little crucifixion bullshit is really bad, okay? But it's not as bad as it can get. It's not. And even if it was, that still wouldn't justify doing it to other people and animals for absolutely no reason. They get absolutely no benefit from it. They just die afterwards, alone, in a forest. Oh, well, an animal came out and ate them up. First off, lots of things that we can go before that they could have had nutrition by some other means, like photosynthesis or something. But even still, okay, but still, the animal could have just died and provided those nutrients to the other animal without having to go through all the suffering. Whatever you say, there's going to be another way in which we could have had that outcome. Anything you say.
Ever comprehend. I mean, not...
And we're just, even though there's a logical inconsistency there, where a loving God, aka somebody who would not want you to go through unnecessary suffering, when you go through unnecessary suffering, we're just going to say, oh, well, he is suffering. Shut the fuck up. Oh my God, shut the fuck up. Oh, well, he is suffering. Well, he is this. Hey, this doesn't make sense. Well, he is that. He is that. So it does make sense, actually. Shut the fuck up. Can you actually do some explaining for once in your life?
Not only living his life free of sin when sin was all around him, so being involved in his creation day to day, that was a form of internal suffering that he had to deal with, a grieving of his heart.
And she doesn't explain anything. She just goes on and starts listing ways. Oh, look, Jesus suffered. Oh, he had to suffer here. He suffered there. He started grieving this. He started suffering there. He suffered a lot, so we should suffer too. And even worse.
It's hard. And then you see the suffering of his crucifixion. He was...
So when she says God is suffering, what she means is God has experienced suffering as well. That doesn't mean anything. Doesn't mean anything at all.
And mocked, beard hair ripped out, but I think we also don't even understand the complexity.
Any of the points that she brought up, that because suffering God exists, or because suffering exists, an all good, all powerful, all knowing deity cannot exist. Doesn't address that.
Of that beating, of that crucifixion, he was.
Oh, well, he's suffering too. I know suffering might not exist, but if he suffers too, then that means that shut the fuck up.
With a whip that had pieces of glass on the end of it, among other sharp things, and his flesh was ripped open, nervous system exposed. I mean, medical examiners have done extensive research on this, on the crucifixion, what it would have caused. Flesh, out, nervous system out, bones exposed, bones broken, carrying a 300-pound cross over a mile up to where he was crucified, and then the nails, not small nails, but nails probably railroad size, into his hands and his feet. And he did that out of love. So I think that if you look to the Bible and you look to God, I don't think that suffering is something that he deems as contradictory to himself in his existence.
Oh, he doesn't view it that way. The people who wrote the book said that it wasn't contradictory, so it's not. Oh, supreme writing. I've never watched a TV show where there was a blatant contradiction in the writing, and then the writer comes out and says, oh, it's actually not a contradiction. It actually makes perfect sense. And I was like, oh, you know what? He's right. I'm wrong. He said 2 plus 69 equals 420, and that's a contradiction. I mean, that doesn't make any sense, but he said it does, so okay. He doesn't view it as a bad. Okay.
Okay, a few things here. So at the beginning, I gave a very brief synopsis of what I was working with as far as all good / all loving, which is to erase as much suffering as possible. And you do have to put all three of the characteristics of God according to the Christian definition of God, which is all good, all powerful, all knowing. So not just able to, but wants to. That does contradict with suffering existing. The other thing about Jesus,
that does, like, if you say all loving, but he allows a crazy amount of unnecessary suffering to exist, that's not loving. Then you need to change the word. Quit using the word loving. Stop saying all loving. That's not loving. Okay? Here, let's look up the word loving. Feeling or showing strong affection, warmth, tenderness, or care towards someone or something describes affectionate behavior or work done with great care. So, for somebody that all these things would apply to, that you care for and have strong affection for, would you let them unnecessarily suffer? Would you let them be tortured for no good reason? Would you let that happen? No, you fucking wouldn't. If you actually love them. Again, if you say, I would because... No! Stop! Stop everything after the word because. Stop after the word because. If you say, yeah, I would because... you're already an idiot. I said unnecessarily. And that's what it is. There is no because. There is no because for a lot of this shit. There is suffering that is just there for no fucking reason. Or at the very least, you have to say, oh, it's out of our understanding. I just can't understand why he would do it. Yeah, it makes no damn sense, but there might possibly be a reason why he wants us to go through it all.
His crucifixion, whether or not that happened isn't really part of the prompt. I will say that this is a case of, I'm not going to be the one to compare the suffering of anyone to the people who are suffering right here, right now, who are more innocent than an adult man, who are children going through extremely excruciating circumstances. The kind of comparison of suffering I am going to push back on for the sake of people in this world right now who are going through real suffering.
I think that's a good point, but I would argue that children are not more innocent than Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ is sinless.
Strongly.
Well, we're all sinners. You don't have to teach a child how to do wrong. You have to teach a child to do what is.
I don't know. Because, like, if there was an all-perfect person, I guess even children may not be as, like, innocent as that, maybe. But still, it's absolutely crazy to act like children are just these nasty, disgusting, sinful creatures that need God. You deserve hell, child. Turn to God now!
Is right from the get-go. Don't hit, don't lie, because it's innately in them to do those things.
I don't think that means that they're deserving.
Okay. Yeah, it's innately in them. You're right. It's innately in them. Do you hear yourself? They can't control that. That is literally how they were built. That is how their brain is built. All of them. All children. Their brain they are predetermined to act that way since before birth. That is the narrative of our species, is acting that way. That's not a choice. That's not free fucking will. That's baked into their brain that they cannot control. And to act like, oh, now they deserve torture because they were born that way inherently, innately. You are a complete idiot. Yes, I believe that.
Well, I'm not talking about deserving.
Again, I will not back down on children being more innocent than any adult, period.
I love these points that you're making. I think this is such a big deal because many people feel this way, Christians and non-Christians. And I think there's two things really happening here. We're talking about suffering in general. I love the point that you made, and that is a part of the human experience, a part of what we find in the scriptures. And there's actually an encouragement of valuing that suffering. And as opposed to, it's not good, I'm suffering, I must be far from God. It's actually the opposite, where we are to value suffering so that it can produce things like character, hope, perseverance. So there's that one side. I think that the Bible shows that it's valuable to value suffering. I think the other side is the repercussions of free will. I think God being all loving, all good, he created his children and he gives us that free will to decide. So yes, because he's not going to control us all and make us machines, he is going to allow us to build our life. And unfortunately, you have the bad and the good that comes with it. So it does show him as a good and loving. And if he says he gives us free will, he's going to follow through with that. And I think that also shows his love for his people, that he trusts us for the better and the worst of that. And yes, there's so much suffering and there's so much injustice. I don't believe that it's God. I'm suffering, I must be far from God. It's actually the opposite, where we are to value suffering. Experience, a part of what we find in the scriptures. And there's actually an encouragement of valuing that suffering. And as opposed to, it's not good, I'm suffering, I must be far from God.
Tells you it's okay.
But it's actually the opposite.
This supplements my point I was making earlier, where none of these people in this room actually know what suffering is, what real suffering is. She illustrates this scene where we're like, oh, I'm enduring hardship. Oh, I can't pay my bills on time. some bullshit like, oh, I must be far from God, and then she's like, no, it's okay. It might be hard. You might be in time or hard times right now, and having to pick up extra shifts at the local fucking grocery store to make ends meet. But it's okay. If this is so you can be more of a hard worker whenever you get to heaven and be closer to God. Shut the hell up. What are you talking? You're not even talking with the same discussion as I am, bro. You're on a whole different conversation. Jesus Christ. That's not what, like, maybe that makes sense. Sure, whatever. You can have that if you want to. I might even still critique that if that's the world we lived in. But again, like I said, either earlier this video or maybe the last video, it only needs to be this % lower. If the suffering could be decreased by this much, God isn't perfect. He isn't all loving and all powerful and all that bullshit. He's not.
Where we are to value suffering so that it can produce things like character, hope, perseverance. So there's that one side, I think, that the Bible shows that it's valuable to value suffering. I think the other side is the repercussions of free will. I think God being all loving, all good, he created his children, and he gives us that free will to decide. So yes, because he's not going to control us all and make us machines, he is going to allow us to build our life. And unfortunately, you have the bad and the good that comes with it.
Okay.
So it does.
You're not even addressing the point. Yep, we have free will. We can build our own lives. Nice. I'm so glad we can build our own lives, and I'm so glad we can agree that we are able to build our own lives.
Show him as a good and loving, and if he says he gives us free will, he's going to follow through with that. And I think that also shows
nice, cool,
his love for his people. That
he gave us free will, and he's following through with it.
He trusts us for the better and the worse of that. And yes, there's so much suffering and there's so much injustice. I don't believe that it's God, that it's proof that God doesn't exist. I believe that it's proof that God is all loving and he is allowing leadership within his people. And so we're seeing that play out. I would say it's more dangerous to not have God, have the God of the Bible, because if someone says, I actually believe that it's good to harm children, and that's their belief and they have no basis or they have no foundation, I think that's where it can get really murky. But I think it's two separate.
Dude. Oh, it's dangerous because I can't point to the Bible to say it's... No, how about we just do like we're doing already and establish laws and punish people that do that sort of shit and explain to them why it's bad. Hey, would you want someone to do that to you? No? Okay, well then you don't want to do that to other people. And if we lived in a society where it was okay for everyone to just do that shit to each other, it wouldn't be very great, would it? Everyone would always be living on edge. You actually explain these sorts of things. I don't need to go, oh look, it says it here in fucking 2 Proverbs 69.
Things, and I think there is a value to suffering, so that I believe that, and what I see in the scriptures is it leads us to God. It leads us to look up. It leads us to go, why is this happening? And I think instead of trying to prove that they're more than likely he doesn't exist, I think instead it should hopefully make us to want to experience this true God that is all loving, that is all good. I think that's where the direction should actually go.
Yeah, so you brought up a lot of interesting points. Free will is really interesting, so we can get back to that.
No, she didn't. Stop being nice to these assholes. Look at her face. Oh wait, let me move my mic. You brought up a lot of interesting points. Oh, I know I did. No, you didn't. She's sucking your cock so that she does, anyway.
But the value of suffering is tricky. I think we need to be really careful when we make assertions that there should be value in suffering. I don't know if that's appropriate to tell people who are suffering. Sure. Viktor Frankl comes to mind, who was a survivor of the Holocaust. He wrote an entire book and developed logotherapy, which is the process of finding meaning in suffering. There is that possibility. I do think that can be really powerful because you're right that suffering exists, and I think it can be really transformative and important whenever we all go through that journey of how can I take this harm, this suffering, and transmute it into something better for the collective. I think that's one of the most beautiful parts of the human experience. I'm literally getting chills right now. The concern I have is that the message of saying you should value your suffering, certainly not by you, has been manipulated so intensely to keep people complacent, compliant, and controlled. So I just wanted to bring that up for anyone watching who's going through suffering. There could be a lot of...
I respect this stuff, and I know that I am going to get a lot of hate for my attitude on this channel. If I was in person with these guys, I definitely wouldn't be as rude as I am now, because I'm hoping that they just never see this, because like my videos get no views. But I do respect, her actually trying to, because you're not going to convince anybody talking the way I talk. You're just going to make them feel retarded and make them hate you and make them never listen to you again. But I don't really care at this point. I'm just having fun, and I just hate idiocracy. That's what I hate, and so I'm going to address it when I see it.
At the end of the tunnel, that does not. I don't find it appropriate to say that, but your suffering is good. It can be if they want it to be. Going back to
yes.
You were kind of talking about whether or not.
Oh, but my Bible says all suffering is for the great of humanity, and it's on you if you're not turning it into fucking holiness. They don't know 1%, bro.
I think a deity exists. I don't think that's really part of what I was saying with the prompt. I was saying that maybe it's better to say if a creator being exists. We already talked about all of that earlier, but if one exists, all good, all powerful, and all knowing does not make sense with so much suffering. And I think we're kind of brushing over the all powerful part because I think there are ways if free will exists for
so much. That is the important part. They didn't say it up here, right here, but it's the so much part that is the nail in the coffin, really. Because I would, again, even small instances of suffering, I think we could literally go without. But it's the crazy shit. It's the insane shit. And don't say it's because we're fallen either. There are other punishments to like death. First off, like we don't live in a perfect world even without the crazy, just unbelievable. Literally, when I say unbelievable, I mean that because they don't even believe it. They can't even, like, if I told them the shit that some people go through, they wouldn't believe it.
It's almost like inappropriate to suggest that an all-powerful being couldn't possibly design a life in a universe where the suffering is without the scale of suffering that we see. I mean, some of this stuff is just asinine and unnecessary. There's no reason for animals to suffer. There's no reason for children to suffer. They're not learning from their mistakes like children. Animals aren't learning.
I was thinking she didn't say that at all in her whole video because she hadn't said it yet, even though we already went through this whole section.
Their mistakes, even from my understanding of the Christian worldview, animals don't have souls. So where's the redemption there? And I understand the fallen world argument, but going back to the prompt, I still don't think that those three characteristics of the deity make sense with the scope and scale of suffering that we see.
Yes, thank you so much for choosing this prompt. I relate to it very personally. Growing up in a very dysfunctional home, being a black woman, and being a healthcare provider, I see suffering throughout my life. I do not. It seems like there's a gap between suffering and saying that these characteristics can't be true for God. And I say that because when God created Earth, when he created the universe, he created it good. Everything was going according to his plan, and he did give us free will. He is a just God, an all-powerful God, all-loving God. However, because of our free will, we did make a choice. Adam and Eve did, and that not only affected humans but creation in and of itself. So there, we invite dysfunction in that way. And then suffering is very, very personal, like he said. I just do not want to understate that. And we have books like everything was going according to his plan, and he did give us free will. He is a just God, an all-powerful God, all-loving God. However, because of our free will,
we did make this bullshit, bro. He did give us free will. He is all-powerful, and because of our free will.
Choice Adam and Eve did. And that not only affected humans.
But Adam and Eve did. Okay. And I could get in, I already have a whole video on Adam and Eve. How that's all bullshit. How they literally had no knowledge of good and evil. And they were tricked. If you just had one of them on their own, it would already be bad enough. But both at the same time, they literally don't know what good and evil is. Like, disobeying God has no value. Like, how is that bad? They don't know what evil is. They don't know what bad is. Disobeying, there's no, like, moral thing there. I don't even know what to fucking call it. Like, it's moral imperative. There's nothing there. It's just disobey. Because they like to go, oh, they know disobeying is bad. No, the fuck they don't. They don't know what evil is. They don't know what good is. There is no knowledge of that. And they were literally tricked. They were fucking tricked into doing it. Oh, and so because those two people who aren't us did it, now we're doomed to literally sin. It's actually throwing free will out the window by saying that. I don't care what you say. If there were some people that were born on Earth who they like never sinned, and then they didn't have to experience any hardship at all, that would make sense. But that's not the case. We just all, like they said earlier, it's innate in children to do all that shit. It is in them. There's no changing that. There's no choice. There's no any of that bullshit.
But creation in and of itself. So there, we invite dysfunction in that way. And then suffering is very...
I didn't, actually. People of 2000, whatever the hell years ago did.
Very personal, like you said. I just do not want to understate that. And we have books like Job where he's suffering because Satan wanted to prove a point that the only reason why Job loved God was because good things were happening to him. And we see that Job still loved God even when he was suffering so much. He lost everything. And it's not an award for him to get double what he got back. But I think
even that is not... Bro, that is like mental suffering, which is bad. It's horrible. Even that, the Job shit, not even close to what I'm even talking about.
To realize the point where God actually, he didn't answer his question directly about why he was suffering. He actually asked, he just started telling him about the universe. He's like, I can see everything. You're not going to understand everything.
Plus, even if it was what I was talking about, it's just a story. Who cares? Like, oh, look, this happened one time. Like, this person was okay with it. So that means everyone should be. Oh, it's immoral to do that? Well, look, it happened. So it's not immoral. Like, what? It's immoral to torture and have all this horrible shit happen to people. But in the Bible, it already happened. So now that makes it not immoral somehow. Like, what the fuck is this line of thinking, bro?
everything. That does not mean suffering is good, but I see everything and I know I can restore everything. And despite what you're going through, I know that you're not suffering because you're a bad person. He even rebuked Job's friends for saying it was as a consequence of something he did. Sometimes suffering happens because there's dysfunction entered into the world because of sin. It's not always a cause and effect. Like you did something wrong.
What are you talking about sometimes? I thought that's just what it is. What the hell do you mean sometimes? Sometimes it enters the world because we sinned. I thought that's how all sin entered the world.
Now you're going to suffer.
All, evil consequences or whatever the fuck enter the world.
And then we have books like Ecclesiastes that specifically say, it is not fair. I've done everything right and I'm still suffering. There's people out there doing things that are bad and they get good things. So why does this make sense? Again, it's because there's dysfunction in this world and we still have people making choices out there. So this started in the beginning and it isn't going to be perfect all the way through. And that does not say that God isn't good. God is all powerful. It means things will work out. Not all the time, not the way we think it, but there is dysfunction that we cannot control. And although he's all powerful, he's not going to take away our free will. And he's going to let things play out the way they are. And there's going to be consequences, good or bad, for our choices personally. And
stop doing that. Will they please shut up about consequences for direct choices? That does not encompass the entire scale of suffering. There are people who literally are just walking about their day and they just randomly start being attacked by their own biology. They start having the most intense, crazy ass pain that you've can't even think of. Look up cluster headaches, and this isn't even touching it still, but look up cluster headaches and look up people actually having episodes. I've seen a guy record himself. He will take his pillow and he will out for hours. These episodes last hours, and he's already been through the whole doctor shit, had all these medicines, and there's nothing to help him. There's nothing to help him. They call it the suicide disease, I'm pretty sure. And because there are lots of people who end up killing themselves over this. What lesson did they learn? No, they didn't learn a lesson. Their lives were just ruined. Their families' lives were just ruined. They grabbed the pillow, he's bending over on the ground, running around, fucking jumping up and down, it's actually making my heart race faster just thinking about it. This guy, breathing heavy, screaming, crying, making noises I didn't even know were possible. It sounds like some alien species. Just absolutely awful. And that is still not even the worst. And that just happens. It just randomly happens. It's not a direct outcome of somebody's actions. Okay? It's none of that. It's not like, oh, well, he's going to learn a lesson now and there's some great good that comes out of this. Bullshit. No, there's not. That's his life. And then the times where he's not having that, which he has multiple episodes per week, he might have a week or so off. The times he's not having that, the most crazy panic attacks you've ever seen in your life, just from the sheer anxiety of anticipating the next time that happens. His life is ruined. His life is over for no reason.
For others, and it reflects not only in our time but throughout time. And then we have
smug for these loser, pampered faggots to sit here and be like, oh, you need to use it for good. It's because Adam and Eve sinned that you're going through that. What the hell are you talking about?
David and other people just crying out to God. So those laments, it's saying that God doesn't ignore suffering. He's not saying necessarily that it's good. He acknowledges it, he honors us, and that he lets us know that he's present. And my whole point of all of this is that his characteristics are real despite there being bad things in this world. And I feel like there is a missing piece as to, first of all, why we think suffering is bad. There has to be morality behind that. It's some objective truth that we think it's bad. Otherwise, why are we even talking about it? If suffering is something that's just not physiological, just not neurological, as in us experiencing pain, it's there for a reason. And that's why I find Christianity so compelling, is that it explains why it's here. It gives us hope to stop it from.
Okay, you know what else explains why it's here? Just simple evolution. That actually explains why it's here. Actually does. You can actually get down to, why does suffering exist? Because it shows you why. It helped us survive. So shut the hell up. No, you like it. Don't say you like it because of that. We all know why you like it.
For ourselves and for others around us, and that there's redemption coming in the future. Thank you.
I think to that, I would say a few things here.
Thank you, I cooked.
If the
thank you.
off, according to this argument, for free will, which is the only reason I've heard that God has this all-powerful, all-knowing, all-good creator being, not just allows, but because it's all-powerful, brought into existence our suffering. Doesn't just allow, brought into existence the entirety of this universe, which includes suffering.
Brought into existence, created, sparked it. Not, oh, I'm allowing it to happen. I'm allowing your free will. You guys want suffering. Humans want this crazy-ass suffering. So free will, I'm letting you kill each other. Again, like I said, their little version of it, that first off, that doesn't even touch the free will shit. Human action is not creating somebody's autoimmune system to attack them, somebody's own biology to attack them. These neurons in their brain that just genuinely go haywire. Okay, that's not human free will causing, and then God is like, oh, I'm going to let you keep doing. No, that's not it. Okay. But even then, even after that, even for the very specific things that they want to hone in on. Sorry, I got a call and I forgot. Hold on. I didn't even answer him. I don't even remember what I was saying. Oh, they're on the game now. Anyway, let's just keep playing.
And perpetuates it continuously. I would like to just go on record and say you can have my free will. I do not consider that to be a sufficient trade-off. I don't necessarily think that that's the case. I'm just saying.
Yeah, but she needs to bring up both points. It's not a sufficient trade-off, but even for me, I think this is a stronger point. You can have the free will without all the shit that I'm talking about. Because again, even whenever you do, that's what I was going to say. Even when you hone in on the very specific things that they want to talk about, like that human actions causing, so like murder. Okay, even with murder, or like human inflicted torture instead of like biological act of nature torture. Even when humans do it, there are still things that we cannot choose to do, like flying, like shooting fireballs out of our hands, like a million trillion other things. Okay? There are things that we can't do. That doesn't mean we don't have free will. So why not just add one more to that list, genuinely? And you're probably thinking like, oh, well, physically we can't fly, but, I mean, how would that even work? How would God do it? Because with murder, I mean, of course it's physically possible to shoot a gun at somebody and kill them, or to, I don't know, stick toothpicks under their fingernails like in Daredevil to torture them. But, again, you're not understanding, we're talking about God here. He can literally rewrite everything, the fabric of reality, all laws, physics, whatever the fuck. He can change it to do whatever. He is all-powerful, and that is exactly what is contained in the premise here, is the all-powerful part. He should be able to create a world in which all things stay the same except that. If he can't, then he's not all-powerful, period.
And if that were the case, you can have my free will. I would rather be a robot than watch the atrocities that are happening. That's a personal take. Again, we're all kind of bringing our personal...
Me too. I agree, but you need to bring up both points is what I think she needs to do.
Takes into this.
Because that's not going to resonate with them as much.
And then I still don't see how, if we're going back to the all-powerful and all-knowing aspect, how that is yet a justification. If you're saying there's absolutely no way, two things. If you're saying that absolutely no way that an all-powerful deity could allow for free will, create us with free will to choose him, or to have like a smaller scope of suffering, right? A smaller way of understanding redemption than all of this destruction, what you call dysfunction, which is,
exactly.
I mean, the vast majority of the universe, the vast majority of life as we know it is suffering. And so I don't know if the scale is really balanced there but don't worry, there will be redemption. I don't see that. Maybe I'm missing something. But then on the other side, I don't know if you kind of alluded to it or someone did, but us not understanding the plan.
Because now you're giving them... I don't understand her, bro. Stop being so nice, bro. Genuinely. Stop it.
Doesn't really mean that there is...
Maybe I'm missing something. You're not... Trust me, bro. You know you're not missing something. I know you're not missing something. Come on.
So that's kind of what I would say to that.
I would like to say that I don't think God having all of the power to destroy suffering negates that. I think that it shows his patience, because if he were to perform perfect justice for all of the people that perpetuate that suffering, who commit child abuse, murder, all of that, his wrath would come and come quickly, and I think that people would be very much regretful of wishing that perfect justice would come. And I think that with God knowing everything, him being all-knowing doesn't mean causality. I could, know that something is going to happen in the next 24 hours. That doesn't make me the perpetuator of that.
Oh my God,
is not the author of sin.
You don't understand it. You don't understand it. Oh my God, you don't understand it, bro. It's not saying... Oh my God, bro. It's just the whole time, it's just 2 hours of 20 people not knowing how the fuck to follow along. That's what this is. It's not saying that the all-knowing part is like, oh, in this moment I know that you're going to do something, do X. It's like, no, I'm all-knowing, so like, I knew when I created this world that all these factors would be present, and it would be this crazy ass bullshit that makes no sense and has all this unnecessary suffering would be there, and yet I still continued to follow down that plan, that path. That's why the all-knowing thing comes in, dumbass.
So anything that occurs because of sin, he is not to be blamed for that. I think that we can definitely question, even as Christians, God, why would you allow this? You know what I mean? But it does go back to redemption. It does go back to Jesus Christ, because he wishes that none should perish, but all should come to repentance, and he is giving mankind time to repent.
Does he wish that? They always go back to, oh, well, God says this in the Bible.
And he's extending that grace,
so
and he will perform perfect justice against those things that cause suffering or people. So.
Oh, will he? Oh, so you're not going to actually prove it, though? You're just going to say that that's what he says? Okay.
With you saying redemption and the cross, I want to get to that, because this is the basis of suffering. We have to grasp. I guess my question for you before I even get into this: what is the hope behind suffering? What is the reason for suffering from your worldview?
Oh my God, bro. Their brain. It's just a fundamental difference in how our brains are, bro, between Christians and like. That's why they call atheism a religion, and then they say like, oh look, the Nazi Germany, they had this atheistic worldview, and that's how they justified it. Oh my God. Stop doing that bullshit, bro. No, there is no like, oh, this is the objective purpose behind suffering. Atheist edition. Like, that's not a thing. That's not a thing. You can create your own meaning for it. Sure.
I don't think it's appropriate for me to say why anyone else's suffering has meaning. That's not the stance I'm taking. I can find my own meaning in my own suffering, and I do think it is possible for people to create and find and share their meaning in their own suffering, but I'm not going to make a blanket statement like that. I don't think it's appropriate.
Christianity has the answer to why we suffer.
And does it? See, this is their brains, bro. Like, oh, I need the answer to this, I need the answer to that, I need the answer, and the fairy tale tells me the answer, and oh, it feels so great. That's why I like Christianity, because it tells me this and it tells me that, and it makes sense, and now I don't have to wonder. I don't have to be scared and go, I wonder why Earth exists. I wonder the reason behind my asshole hurting. I wonder this. I don't have to do that. I can just say God. It's always God. He's always the answer. God this, God that, God my ass.
Evil that goes against God's holy nature. That is what evil is. Anything that goes against God's holy nature, because He's holy.
I don't know why the fuck you're talking about this irrelevant ass piece of information.
All powerful, all loving. Anything that goes against Him is horrific. It's what we see here on earth. It is blatant evil. But because we made that choice, humanity made that choice to go against God's nature and God's character, this is the repercussion of that. But what Christianity does is it gives us a hope. I asked you what your hope is. You have your own personal hope. Jesus offers a hope for everybody who would believe. That if you would just confess with your mouth and believe with your heart that He is Lord, that
Does it give us hope? Do you want to stay on topic now? Leah, look at her face. She's like, will you please shut the fuck up and get back on track?
You would, not just on this earth, have a band-aid on suffering, but that to come, there would be an earth. You think that there should be an earth with no crying, no mourning, no tears? That is to come. That is the promise of Christianity, that there will be a time when there is no mourning.
They focus on these surface level ass suffering shits, like, oh, no tears whatsoever, no crying whatsoever, no boo-boos whatsoever. Like, no, I'm not talking about fucking boo-boos here, okay? I'm not talking about, oh, it's hard to meet ends meet. Oh, I have to fucking settle for ramen noodles instead of Mickey D's tonight. No, that's not what we're talking about, asshole.
He will wipe every tear from our eye. There is no more pain that we feel. But it boggles me. You know that there's something in you that says this is wrong, that this is right. Where does that come from? Who gave you that?
Where does it come from? Unless you can tell me these deep-ass existential questions and solve the fucking mysteries of the universe, then you're wrong. Tell me now. Where does it come from? This spiritualness within you. It's raging. It's trying to come out. I see the light inside you, and where is all the...
Adam said it's just here? No, God gave you that desire of your heart to stand up for...
Bro. I literally would explode if I walked into this room, just breathed in the fucking air. I would spontaneously combust.
Things that are unjust. To be angry when you see the persecution of children. But if we are image bearers of Him, how much more does He also share that anger for our suffering? But He didn't throw up His hands and say, well, figure it out. Humanity, He became suffering for us. Where there is deep... Where you go against God, and there is a deep, Lord Jesus, give me the word. When you go against God, He takes that serious because He's just. And because He is just, there had to be a repercussion for what humanity chose. He didn't just decide to throw up His hands, like I said. He became both the judge and the judged in what He did on the cross. So all I can say, even if you never just hear anything out.
Why are we just providing sermons? Some of these people came here to actually argue, like the First Lady in my last video, who was all the way on the left. And then some people, like this asshole, just came to just preach. Just like, God is coming to save you. He wants you. Like, shut up. Will you stay on topic, please?
It's God, and there is a...
Where's your answer? Like, how can you answer what the meaning of suffering is? You can't. But God can. God does. He says it's for His glory. You're suffering for His glory. His holiness is why. Do you realize that? The more you suffer, the more glorious He is. You don't get that? You don't...
There is a deep, Lord Jesus, give me the word. When you go against God, He takes that serious because He's just. And because He is just, there had to be a repercussion for what humanity chose. He didn't just decide to throw up His hands, like I said. He became both the judge and the judged in what He did on the cross. So all I can say, even if you never just hear anything out, I would say, look back on the cross. You study theology. You went to school for it. But I would almost say that sometimes our knowledge and our desire for knowledge gets in the way of what the Lord wants to do in your heart. So that is all I have to say. Look to the cross. The cross is the reason why we have redemption for the very evil that is here in the world.
It's very evident that you have a lot of conviction with what you're saying, and that it means a lot to you, and that it perhaps is transformative for you, and I think that matters, and I'm certainly not trying to take that away from you. I think everything you said, if that means something to you, that's great, and I want that for you. I want your well-being. I'm not really open or available to suggestions or any assumptions about me or what's in my heart. I don't think that's appropriate, because I'm not doing that to anyone here. So going back to the prompt, not much of what you were talking about had to do with why suffering exists.
What they're all thinking.
I wasn't finished.
No,
I was finished.
By our choice. That's
okay.
why suffering exists.
So that is not enough for me. I don't think that that's enough of an explanation for this.
Because they're going to do that to me all they want. I'm not finna be the bigger person and be like, oh, I'm not here to make assumptions about what you think. Fuck that. They're going to do it to us either way. So yeah, I'm going to make all the assumptions about what they think.
Of why children are going through what they're going through because someone a couple thousand years ago ate an apple.
This episode of the Dr. Tap Show is brought to you by Alloy Health. Let's be real for a second. Aging can be...
Okay, do I want to do this one or am I done for the day? Hold on, which one? Wait. What? Wait. Oh, yeah, that one. Hold on, I'm gonna stop this video, play this, and then I'll see if I want to do this. But I've been doing this for so long now, I don't even know if I want to do it.